Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia and this is the Frontline Changes report for the past 24 hours for the 29th of August. Because yesterday was late, so today was also late. So just deal with it. It's okay. No difference. Nothing we do changes anything in the Ukraine war. Anyway, today is a mixed bag of situations. The Ukrainian continues their counter-offensive operations across Ukraine. Of course, it's not like massive offensive like the 2023 counter-offensive at Zaporizhia, but it is still their attempt to do their best to hold back the Russians and capture back some grounds, because the Russians are capturing too much grounds. So we're gonna go to the first frontline change is over in the Kupiansk front. So this is Kupiansk, and over in the north of Moskovka, the Ukrainian mapping have updated the map to show that they have taken back quite a bit of grounds and also counterattack into Moskovka. So they have alleged have captured these areas here in the west of Rakivka and the southwest of Rakivka. So this is only based on Ukrainian claims. So this is just a claim, it does not change the Russian mapping. So in case you are panicking or you are raging, because you are too pro-Russian, wash your brain and don't be so brainwashed. Don't take sides. No, come on, don't take sides. Yeah, people die in this war. Just take the side of peace. Anyway, the advance here is around 1.3 kilometers, but this is, as I said, is a claim. It cannot be confirmed. The capture, and also, I just want to note this thing is about a lot of criticism on the Ukrainian mapping by Deep State UA. So they like to play with gray zones. And one of the pro-Russian geolocator has claimed that the Ukrainians draw gray zones and then they recapture their own gray zone. So the Ukrainians draw the gray zone and then they took back the gray zone, but they mark it in blue, claiming that they have captured the grounds, despite that it was never captured by the Russian forces. So, and this actually happened in the north of Pokrovsk, the Pokrovsk breakout zone. That's exactly what the Ukrainians have done in their mapping as well. So, how do you put it in blue on the Deep State UA's mapping to claim that you have captured it when it was never captured? So, this does not happen on DPA's mapping because they can claim the capture, but we don't mark gray zones. So, it doesn't matter how far the gray zone goes, they take this part or what, it does not matter because our mapping don't change based on gray zones. So they can say that, oh, we have taken back these areas here. They have taken back this area, and then they mark it in a beautiful sky blue color, but it doesn't matter because it did not happen based on our mapping, because we only mark firm controls. So the problem with the Moskovka region is that the Ukrainian mapping map that the Russians have captured all these places. And I'd always map that if you concede grounds means the capture is confirmed, it's true. So the Russians have captured all of these areas here. So, but all of these areas here, they mark as gray zone, does not matter to me. The Ukrainians claim that they have captured some massive grounds. No, doesn't matter. So even if they are marked it here for them, this only affects the blue map. The pink map, the Russian map, does not affect. The Russian map will remain exactly the same as it is right now. So just a bit of explanation of how the map works, because a lot of people don't seem to understand, or they have not been following closely with my coverage, and sometimes they started to get rage. They get angry about all these Ukrainian claims. It's not my fault. I'm just an informer. I just tell you that the Ukrainians claim this. So if you want to be an ostrich, dig a hole, put your head inside, and eat some earthworm. Okay. So at Rikudo, this is Oskil front. This is Oskil. At Rikudo, the same thing happened. The Ukrainians have counterattacked in this sector here. The mapping here. Let me turn. Is this mapping change, however, is based on geolocation. Ukrainian forces geolocated in the south of Rikudo, in the center south of Rikudo. This confirms the Ukrainians have counterattacked successfully in this sector here. So this is actually a confirm. It will affect both maps. And Ukrainian forces basically have taken back half of Rikudo with this push. And this with this in a very broad mapping, it's just a very triangular mapping. It invalidates the Russian claims as well, because the Russians can't possibly be so far out at Khrushchenkove if the Ukrainians are now at Rikudu. So this is just some updates, and advance by the Ukrainian forces is around 2.8 kilometers. So this is pretty big. Maybe the Russians did not defend, they actually retreated. That is a possibility, because the Russians do not hold grounds at all costs. So this chunk is pretty big. It's 7.83 square kilometers because of the extensive Russian claims north of Rikudu. The next frontline change at Pokrovsk front at Rusinya. So at Rusinya, over this sector here, the Russian mapping, so not Russian mapping, the geolocation of Russian forces over at Rusinya was noted. Wow, shit. Yeah, I adjusted some of my things and then now I get confused. Give me a second. So basically, Russian forces geolocated here. And this confirms the Russians' capture of the southern street of Rusinya. So there is still a little bit of Rusinya left to capture. And the Russian forces basically have taken this ground. The advance is around 800 meters. So this is the Russians' advance in this Rusinya region in the Pokrovsk front. So the evil rabbit is here. No, yeah, this is an evil rabbit. So anyway, yeah, and then after Rusinya, the next frontline change is over at Horadeka. This is Minohrad. Horadeka is over here. Ukrainian mapping have mapped that the Russian forces have advanced out of this Zeleny Thorax in the south of Marolibivka as well as the north of Horadeka. So Russian forces have pushed out of this sector here, and so making some buffer zone along the lake. The advance is probably on average around 500-600 meters. So this is just a straightening of the front line, if you ask me. Like, this is the straightening of the front line. Nothing particularly very spectacular per se. The next front line change after this is over in Leontovishi. So at Leontovishi, this is in the southwest of Pokrovsk. So Pokrovsk is over here. This is Pokrovsk. Southwest of Pokrovsk at Leontovishi. The Russian mapping, the Russians have advanced along this tree line. They have captured this tree line. This is mapped by this is claimed by the Russian side. So this is a claim. It doesn't affect the Ukrainian mapping. So this is a small advance. The advance is probably around 300-400 meters. And there's one more last frontline change is over in the Komar front. At the Komar front at Komishuvaha, so this Komar is, so I show you Komar. This Velika Novossilka, this is Komar, and so Komishuvaha is here. Also, in this sector here, the Ukrainian mapping, Deep State UA has mapped that the Russian forces have did a flanking operation to the west of Komishuvaha and entered into the north of Komishuvaha. And the entire salient is rather impossible in this sector here. So as impossible salients are impossible, so the Russian forces have successfully taken the salient, straightening the front line in this sector here and entering into Komishuvaha. So the total advance north to south is pretty big. This is 4.3 kilometers. It's ridiculous. Because it cannot be so ridiculous, because it's impossible. So it doesn't happen. The front line probably has already collapsed long time ago. So it's just that they are only now confirmed that the Russian forces have entered into the northwest of Komishuvaha, and I don't think the Ukrainians is able to hold this line for too long, because another pincer is going to come pretty soon along the Vrona River. So I don't think this is a holdable position. So no, this is going to happen. So that's it. So these are all the frontline changes in the past 24 hours. So since the Ukrainians have some interesting updates, so we're going to use the Ukrainian ones as the background. The rare times that they have some success. So we're going to do some calculation. So it's a very close one. I actually, my mental calculation doesn't work right now. No, I'm not Chinese enough, not Asian enough. Yeah, I read too much American news. So anyway, yesterday the Russians captured only 9.05 square kilometers. Ukrainians captured 1.05. So let's see. I think it's 0. I think it's not even 1.05, but I think it's 0. But anyway, just leave it there. No, I probably made some mistake there. So anyway, Russian captured 2.58 plus 6.81. Total area captured by the Russian forces is very similar to yesterday. Is at 9.39 square kilometers. So is the Ukrainians going to be more? So 3.41 plus 7.83. Yeah, clearly it's more. 3 plus 7 is 10. So anyway, failure. Study so much, still cannot go to university. Anyway, this the total captured by the Ukrainians is 11.24 square kilometers. So for the first time in a long time, Ukrainian forces captured more than the Russians in the past 24-hour span of time, at least based on our mapping, because fog of war, we do not know what's the real situation is. So anyway, that's it. Thank you for watching. Happy birthday to you. If your birthday today, press the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next update.